struggle with telling people no or telling people how you truly feel because you don't want to start confrontation, you don't want to start problems, and you really just consider yourself to be a people pleaser. So in this video, I'll explain to you how to not become a people pleaser and where does that come from. So first, the act of people pleasing actually starts at a very young age. Think about even before you have any first memories, right? When you are a baby and you're growing up, you are starting to understand this world. You're starting to understand what is right and what is wrong. And during this process, you just want to be accepted, you just want to be loved, and you just want to be cared about. And one thing that our parents do, and it's not necessarily on purpose, but they only show us acts of love and they only show us acts of affection when we are acting in a certain way. Think about it. When you are happy and you are smiling, that's when people are happy and smiling around you. But when you are sad, even if you have a reason to be sad, when you have an attitude, even if you have a genuine reason to have an attitude, you're no longer accepted. You're not hugged, you're not given kisses, you're not cared for. You're simply told to act accordingly and usually change your attitude, right? And even if your emotions have not changed, you have to change physically for people to accept you. So our parents did this a lot. Think about when you're young, your parents tell you to go to your room. My mom used to tell me stuff like, fix your face. I don't want to see a face like that. I genuinely could have had something bad happen. I genuinely could have had a bad day, but we're taught at a young age that you are not going to be accepted in society unless you make people around you feel comfortable. It doesn't matter what's going on with you. Your dog could have died. Your boyfriend could have broke up with you. It doesn't matter. People don't care. You need to act accordingly, and you have to make everyone around you feel safe. You have to make everyone around you feel happy and feel like okay, because if you don't, you are a bad person. And we internalize that. We're taught just because you have a bad feeling or just because you express a bad feeling, it makes you a bad person. And so that's where a lot of times people pleasing comes from. It comes from the simple fact that we want to be loved still. We still want to be cared about and we want to be accepted. And we were taught at a very young age, you are not accepted when you make people around you feel how you're feeling or you express how you're feeling. You're not going to feel loved that way. You need to put on a smile and you need to act accordingly. And I want you to understand, being a people pleaser is really just being a manipulator. And I want you to understand, being a people pleaser is really just being a manipulator. You are manipulating situations and people to act the way that you want them to act. So you are not telling your nail tech that you don't like your nails because you don't want her to be mad at you. You are not telling your spouse that you don't like when they do something because you don't want to start an argument. I say that to say you are manipulating situations so you get the response you want. You know if you don't say nothing to your nail tech, she's going to be happy, right? You know if you don't say nothing to your spouse, they're going to be happy. And so you're manipulating things so you can get the outcome that you want. And usually the outcome that you want is to make other people happy. And I want you to understand, with this manipulation process, it actually causes you to not truly know people. Because if you're constantly manipulating people, you're constantly making people, happy and appeasing them, that means you truly don't know what's going to happen if they're not happy. You don't truly know what's going to happen if you give them a response that they don't like. And even though we have been taught this as children, right, to act happy and to make people feel good, I want you to understand this is actually something that is from literally our brain. The main function of your brain is to protect you. The main function of your brain is to keep you safe. And so anything that is new and or uncomfortable, it makes your brain scared. Your brain kind of only knows two functions: safe and unsafe. And so new things, right, uncomfortable things makes your brain feel like it's not safe. And like I just said, its main function is to keep you safe. So what your brain is basically saying is, we don't want to tell that person how we feel because we don't know what's going to happen. Your brain is scared of the unknown. It doesn't know what's going to happen if you truly say how you feel. It doesn't know what's going to happen if you truly go against the grain. So it makes you essentially do things like everyone else, fall in line with what you think people want you to say, what you think people want you to do, so you're not uncomfortable and it doesn't cause any kind of confrontation. So partially it is from your childhood, but another component of it is really just your brain trying to keep you safe. And so one thing I want you to think of this is like an exercise. I want you to exercise your brain in feeling safe, right? And a lot of times people would tell you stuff like, oh, if you don't want to be a people pleaser anymore, tell that person how you feel. If you don't want to be a people pleaser anymore, do this or do that. That big thing that you've been wanting to do and you don't talk about, or that big thing that, you've been waiting for, do it. I personally don't believe in it. I think you actually should build it up like a muscle. I think that's honestly the big reason why you're still a people pleaser. You keep trying to do the big stuff. If you know it's something that you've been holding out for months, some even people for years, do not tell yourself, I'm not going to be a people pleaser anymore once I do that thing, right? That big thing can wait. As hard as it may sound, as frustrated as you might feel, that big thing could wait. You need to do the small things. When you go get your coffee from Dunkin' Donuts, tell them, hey, this has too much sugar. Can I get a new one? When you go get your sandwich made at Subway, tell them, hey, I asked for no mustard and you put mustard on there. Start with doing the little things instead of trying to tell your boyfriend or girlfriend this big thing, or telling your coworker that big situation, because that is honestly, yes, it may help with one specific thing, that one specific, area, but that's probably too much for you. Like, it's similar to going to the gym and trying to pick up a 200-pound weight and you ain't never picked up no weight before. So start with the small things. Get your body, get your mind used to being uncomfortable. Because one thing your mind is going to understand is, whoa, the world doesn't end if we tell somebody how we feel. Because your brain literally does not see the difference between you telling your boyfriend or your girlfriend that, there's this major problem going on between you, and you telling the person at Dunkin' Donuts that you don't like your coffee. They're both two uncomfortable things. And even though you may say, of course my boyfriend is more important than a Dunkin' Donuts worker, it's not in your brain. Your brain does not see the difference. Your brain literally sees both of those things as you being uncomfortable, and it doesn't want to experience either. So train your brain to understand that, hey, first and foremost, you know what happens after we tell the person that we don't like the coffee? What's going to happen? Nothing. We're going to have a great day. Your brain literally thinks, if I tell this person, we're going to have a bad day. And then if we have a bad day, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that. Get your brain to understand, hey, our day is good. And then also get your brain to understand, people aren't always going to be mad at you. That's another thing too. We have this idea that if we tell people how we feel or we express ourselves, people are going to be mad at us all the time. But it's like, sometimes people genuinely aren't mad. Sometimes people genuinely don't care. And then there are some people who are going to be mad at you. There are some people who are going to have an attitude with you. But you also have to train your brain to understand you're going to be okay either way. People mad at you or people not, you're going to have a good day. And so it gets you into a process of your brain getting used to being uncomfortable. Your brain getting used to being in that place of the other side. You get what I'm saying? Of not appeasing people and not doing what you think people want you to do, because it's like, oh, well, whatever happens, I'm fine. I know my intent behind this thing. I know I wasn't being mean. I know I just wanted a good coffee or a good sandwich. I know I was doing it for me. And so it gets you comfortable with that. And getting into doing things for you, I think it's very imperative to understand the difference between intent and essentially outcome, right? Because a lot of times too, if you are a people pleaser, you are so focused on outcome, you don't understand that just because the outcome was bad does not mean the intent was bad. And so what happens to a lot of people pleasers is that you get to a place where you are constantly thinking people are being mean to you. You are constantly thinking people are honestly worried about you because you're always worried about other people. And it's hard for people pleasers to understand that not everybody's a people pleaser, right? And it comes to a point where when people tell you no, when people have boundaries, when people have self-respect, you think it's them being mean to you. And genuinely, it's just them putting themselves first. And I've learned this too with my self-growth journey as far as, not being a people pleaser in the past couple years. People have taken it as me being rude or me being mean. But one thing it is, I genuinely just put myself first. Like, I don't even take the amount of brain capacity sometimes, honestly, to think about people. And I know that might sound rude or it might sound not necessarily good, but that's what you have to do, because I know my intent behind stuff is good. I know my intent behind something is not to be mean or malicious. And if I do come across as that way, if I do something that affects someone, I have no problem apologizing. I have no problem saying, hey, this is not what I meant for this to come across this way, or that's not what I wanted to do, this, that. But I don't have no problem telling people, hey, I don't want to go out this weekend. I don't have no problem telling people, hey, I don't want to do this or I can't do that. And sometimes people who are people pleasers take it as me being mean or me being rude, or someone has even said to me, oh, you're inconsiderate. And I'm like, why am I inconsiderate? Oh, because you said you were going out, but then you changed it. You said you didn't want to go out no more. Yeah, because I had a really long day. I had a really long week, money low. But I don't have to explain that to you too. Like, I think sometimes when people are people pleasers, you think people have to give you a whole list of the reason why they don't want to do something. Now, it's a difference between you being around someone who has self-respect and then you being around someone who genuinely just does not care about you. Now, if someone is always flaking on you, if someone is always rude to you, that's different. And also, I'm not one of those people who are like, what's the people they say? I'm just being honest. I don't like those kind of people. The people who try to use the excuse of, oh, I'm just honest. They say rude things, they say mean things, and they're like, I'm just being honest. That's not someone that creates boundaries. That's just a mean person. And I think you have to figure out the difference between the two. There's some people who genuinely are there for you when you need them. They genuinely care about you. You know it. But every so often they're like, hey, I don't want to do this thing. I don't want to do that thing. And a lot of times, you got to be honest, it don't even affect you. Like me saying I'm not going out with a group of friends does not necessarily affect the group. They're still going to go out. They're still going to have a good time. Yes, they might have wanted me to go out with them, but it's not like they can't go out because of me. It's not like I was the driver. It's not like I was, you get what I'm saying? And so I think sometimes when you are a people pleaser, you internalize that. Why you're not going out? Why are you not doing this? How does that person not doing something affect you? A lot of times it doesn't. And so that's what I want a lot of people to understand too in this process, that not everyone is a people pleaser. And if you are a people pleaser, sometimes you could take it as people being mean or people being malicious. But when you look at it from the intent and you start practicing not being such a people pleaser and you start practicing boundaries with people and having self-respect for yourself, you will start to be like, you know what? This person just put themselves first. You know what? This person actually has self-respect, unlike what I've had in the past. And you have to understand, people pleasing adds up. It's not just one little thing. It's not just two little things. It literally takes over your body and can lead to things such as depression, illnesses, stress. And it's because you have to think of people pleasing as being little things that lead up to big things. So yes, it may be little things such as you not knowing what to pick for lunch with your coworkers. Yes, it might be you working extra hours because your boss asked you to, even though it was your day off. Yes, it might be you know what I'm saying, staying up late to finish something for your coworker because she asked you to. But what happens is, this is people pleasing and this is you. If I do this with my arm, this doesn't really hurt. But if I do this for a couple hours, it's gonna hurt more. If I do this for a couple days, it's gonna be excruciating pain. You've been doing this for years to your body. People pleasing, people pleasing. And so what you look at it is the foam. It's not that bad. But you have to understand, it's wear and tear to your body over the years of you being a people pleaser and you allowing these things to literally break you down more and more and more to the point where you don't know yourself anymore. And I feel like people don't think about it like that. People pleasing is the reason why it's hard for you to go after your goals. People pleasing is the reason why it's essentially even hard for you to be happy, because you don't know yourself when it's not in context of other people. You can't figure out what you truly want for yourself in life because you're so worried about other people all the time that it literally stresses you out. You don't know the point of saying, I'm exhausted, I need to stop, because you're so used to going off what other people say. Some people could tell you my exhaustion point is after I work for 9 hours, I'm exhausted. You could work for 9 hours and your boss could ask you to work for 5 more and you would do it. You get what I'm saying? You could want to post on social media, but then you're scared of what people are going to say about you, so you don't. You're so used to making others feel comfortable. You don't want people to look at you a certain way. You don't want people to judge you. You want to make everybody think of you in a good way, that over time you don't truly do the things that you want to do. And so you wait until you get to the point of when you're 60 years old or you're 7 years old and you like, I wish a person. I wish I would have started that business. I wish I would have worked out. I wished I would have. And a big reason why you don't do a lot of these things is because you're constantly worried about other people. You literally can't even figure out what you want to eat to be healthier. You literally can't even figure out when you want to go to the gym or when you want to do this or when you want to do that, because you always think about yourself in context to other people. You're used to other people pulling you in other directions, that when it's time for you to pull yourself forward, you don't even know what direction to go in. And I think that's something people don't realize. People pleasing, in my opinion, is one of the biggest cause in not getting what you want out of life, is because you truly don't know what you want out of life. And to get to anything, you have to set a goal. But to set a goal, you have to know the direction you're going to. And so you get to this idea that you set these fictitious goals. You set goals that anybody would say, oh, I want to lose weight. Oh, I want to start a business. Oh, I want to, and you think these are goals for yourself. Why? Because you don't truly know yourself. If it's not in context of what somebody else doing, if it's not in context of what everybody else think is the good thing to do. And so you live your life for everyone else. You go to school for everyone else. You get a certain degree for everyone else. You get a certain job. You might even marry a certain person because you want to keep up this image that people have of you in their mind. You want to keep everyone happy. You want to keep everyone appeased. And so you're scared if you do one thing differently, people are not going to no longer like you. People are no longer not going to look at you the way you want to be looked at. But you have to understand first and foremost your intent behind things, and you have to understand you got to stop manipulating these situations. You got to stop manipulating people to look at you a certain way. How do you view yourself? How do you think about yourself? When you look in the mirror, who do you see? And not just the physical, because you can manipulate the physical. Who are you truly? If somebody was to take away all the degrees, if somebody was to take away all the money, if somebody was to take away all the beauty and all these other things, what do you have left? And a lot of people don't have nothing left because all they do is do things based upon what other people want them to do. All you have left is what other people have given you, essentially. You probably worked for it, but they gave you the right to do that. They gave you the idea. They gave you that sentiment. And the final thing I want to end you guys off with is understanding how to get out of people pleasing as an adult. And the root of people pleasing as an adult, contrary to just starting it from a child, is you do not know how to effectively communicate. You feel a certain way, but you don't know how to effectively communicate that thing, and so you're scared to do it. So you just want everybody to feel cool, everybody to feel calm, because you're scared if you say the wrong thing, it's going to have a bad outcome for you. And so one of the things I want you to start doing is, first and foremost, figure out where in your life do you deal with people pleasing the most. Like, literally write it down. Where in my life do I feel like I deal with people pleasing the most? It could be big things. It can be little things. It could be little, well, not little, but however you look at it. It could be something like, okay, when my coworkers always ask, what do we want to eat? I need to stop saying whatever everyone else wants to eat. When my boss asks me to work on my day off, I need to stop saying that I can work when it's my day off, right? Think of things in your life, even with the nail thing. When my nail tech does my nails and I don't like them, I need to figure out how to tell her I don't really like it. And think of it the same way you think of everything else you want to search up. You better go on TikTok, you better go on Google, go where you have to go and literally type in how to effectively communicate that. Bam, 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 whatever you're going through. No matter how specific it is, I promise you somebody wrote an article about it already. And I think what messes up people is that they don't want to do that. You think about life as if you should already know it. I want you to understand this is your first time on this thing called Earth, and this is your last time on this thing called Earth. You do not know everything. You not knowing it is okay, but you also not taking the time to learn it is not okay. So literally search up how to say these things. Like, don't expect yourself just to know this. Don't expect yourself just to assume what to say. And for some people, you might be one of those people that's like, you know what? I know what I want to say, but I just know I'm not the best communicator. I know some people like that. Like, they mean good, but it's just the way they come across. It come a little aggressive. So maybe you just want to figure out how to say it in the right way, or maybe you don't know what to say at all, and you just need a framework, right? Of course, adjust it to your own liking, but this will get you used to communicating with yourself. This will get you used to communicating effectively, and essentially this will get you used to being in that uncomfortable phase, right? Making the uncomfortable comfortable. Making it secondhand nature for you to stand up for yourself. Making it secondhand nature for you knowing your intent behind something and being able to effectively communicate that. But that's just what I want to end it off with, because I think that's one of the issues. Is just you just don't know how to effectively communicate you're hurting. You just don't know how to effectively communicate that you're tired. You just don't know how to effectively communicate you. And once you get to a point of learning your intent, learning why you're doing things, what is your, you get what I'm saying, what is your purpose behind doing things, I think that will help a lot of people understanding your purpose behind yourself and learning I'm this kind of person and I'm that kind of person, and being able to even distinguish yourself from other people. Because right now you're a dime a dozen. Right now you just one of a million, because you just go with the flow. You don't know how to say things in your way. You don't know how to, you get what I'm saying, adjust things to your liking. And so once you learn how to effectively communicate in your own way, I think you will really learn how to create your own voice and how you want to communicate things, contrary to how people want you to communicate things. So thank y'all so much for watching this video. I hope that it was helpful for you guys. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.